Very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Ashinsani Veerasinghe. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Police says that individuals who fail to register with police after returning to the country by March 16th will be arrested and punished from tomorrow evening onwards. Governments need to ensure the welfare of people who have lost their income and are in desperate need of essential services, WHO stresses. News in detail. Health Services Director General Dr. Anil Jasinghe says that number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka has increased to 132 as of today 4 p.m. Accordingly, 16 COVID-19 patients are recovered so far along with 2 deaths reported. Thus, according to local health officials, there are 132 total COVID-19 cases in the country with 129 active cases and with 173 number of individuals in hospitals under observation. Officials also announced that 10 new cases were found as at 4:15 p.m. today. 2 more COVID-19 infected patients were discharged after a full recovery today, making it to 16 recovered cases in the country. Moving on, a total of 521 people quarantined in Kandakadu, Poonani, Diyatalava and Vanni quarantine centres left for their homes today morning. Thus, 315 people who were quarantined at quarantine centres operated by the Tri-Forces and 206 people quarantined at the Vanni quarantine centre operated by the Sri Lanka Air Force were released.
We arrived here 2 weeks ago, not knowing where we were coming. However, we've been treated very well while we've been here. We've been accommodated by everybody, particularly with our different, perhaps, food tastes to Sri Lankans. And in particular, I'd like to say thank you to one of our neighbours who's helped us a lot with translating information for us.
And I'd like to add that we'd like to thank the Colonel for providing us with a fridge, which was very useful, and the Major for his wonderful service in providing incredibly good meals all the way through our stay and looking after us. And we feel that everybody who's worked here has been very helpful and concerned about us all the way through, and we're very grateful.
Last 14 days, it was unforgettable days in our life. Actually, we have to thank the Sri Lankan Army, who are doing actually a great work for us. The facilities are great. Actually, they did their maximum to support us, to feel us better in this place. So we are taking the great life lessons back home from here. And also we have to thank His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who are fighting against COVID-19.
Addressing the media at the National Operations Centre to combat COVID-19 outbreak, Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva said that 16 out of 48 quarantine centres were closed today and only 32 centres are running at the moment. He also added that only 1,773 individuals are being quarantined at present, including 9 foreigners. He further added that another batch of 100 who completed the 14-day quarantine period will also leave for their homes tomorrow. Meanwhile, DIG Ajit Rohana yesterday announced that temporary restrictions will be enforced on the issuance of curfew passes. Those who travel without curfew passes or service identity card permitted to use as a curfew pass will be arrested without a warrant under the quarantine regulations and under the penal code. DIG Ajit Rohana noted that those arrived in the country from foreign countries should register themselves for the quarantine process before 12 noon tomorrow, and if not, they will be punished under the quarantine regulations. Meanwhile, this is how we captured a failed attempt to burgle a restaurant at Paliagoda in Kelaniya during the curfew period today morning. The owners and residents of the area managed to catch the thief and hand him over to the police station. On the other hand, the Colombo Stock Exchange will remain closed for trading from tomorrow until the curfew is lifted. CSE added that the extraordinary measures taken by the government in order to contain the COVID-19 pandemic includes an extension of a country-wide curfew. The latest report of the World Bank says that the financial impact of coronavirus will stop almost 24 million people from escaping poverty in East Asia and Pacific region. The report also says that significant economic pain seems unavoidable in all countries. World Bank report titled East Asia and the Pacific in the Time of COVID-19 warns of substantially higher risk among households that depend on industries particularly vulnerable to the impact of the virus. Meanwhile, the World Bank advised the region to invest in increasing healthcare and medical equipment factories and to offer subsidies for sick pay that would help with containment and aid households. The bank predicts that almost 35 million people would be expected to remain in poverty, including 25 million in China. It is noted that Chinese economy will see a growth slow to 2.3% this year from 6.1% last year if the pandemic does not get worse. The report reiterates that poor will get poorer and that there will be more of them, and even rich countries will struggle to keep businesses and households afloat. Asia and China particularly have been the world's economic engine for the past decade, and the coronavirus pandemic has stopped that growth in its tracks, and recovery will be long and difficult, the report added. Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Another package of financial and material benefits has been granted to low-income and vulnerable families and individuals in the face of COVID-19 outbreak. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed the Presidential Task Force established to direct essential services in the wake of COVID-19 to provide 5,000 rupees as a single payment to the low-income families. A circular signed by the Secretary to the President, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, on the concessions granted by the President and how they will be implemented was issued yesterday. The circular had been referred to the Secretaries of Ministries of Finance, Economic and Policy Development and Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government, and all districts and divisional secretaries. President's Secretary Jayasundara stated that he has been instructed by the President to issue directives to all district and divisional secretaries to take all necessary measures to provide essential food items to the doorstep at a concessionary price. Meanwhile, some of the key concessions are: an allowance of 5,000 rupees will be provided to 84,071 disabled persons and 35,229 newly registered disabled persons. Measures have been taken to pay 5,000 rupees each to all 416,764 senior citizens allowance recipients and to the recently registered 142,345 senior citizens. A total of 160,675 farmers who are registered under the Farmers Insurance Scheme will also receive an allowance of 5,000 rupees each. An allowance of 5,000 rupees will be paid to 25,320 kidney patients and 13,850 newly registered patients. Measures have been taken to provide 5,000 rupees each to all 1,798,655 Samurdhi recipients and to the recently registered 600,339 Samurdhi recipients by the Samurdhi Bank or Samurdhi Authority. Relief on lease installments for 1,500,000 self-employed persons, including owners of three-wheelers, trucks, school buses and vans, and self-employed motorists. Furthermore, the circular also emphasizes that those who do not belong to the above-mentioned classification but could be identified as at risk will receive similar reliefs after the identification process conducted under the supervision of public health inspectors, social services, development, Samurdhi development, agricultural research development, and family health service officers and district secretaries. In order to support countries manage and surge in COVID-19 cases while maintaining essential services, World Health Organization explains how to set up and manage treatment centers for COVID-19. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus made these observations addressing the daily media briefing on COVID-19 held at WHO headquarters in Switzerland yesterday.
To help countries manage the surge in COVID-19 cases while maintaining essential services, WHO has also published a detailed, practical manual on how to set up and manage treatment centers for COVID-19. The manual covers three major interventions. First, how to set up screening and triage at health facilities using a repurposed building or a tent. Second, how to set up community facilities to care for mild patients. And third, how to set up a treatment center by repurposing hospital wards or entire hospitals, or by setting up a new hospital in a tent. The manual covers structural design, infection prevention and control measures, and ventilation systems. This is a life-saving instruction manual to deal with the surge of cases that some countries are facing right now. These facilities will also have longer-term benefits for health systems once the current crisis is over.
WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus highlighted that the governments should not forget to provide support for older people, refugees and other vulnerable groups amidst coronavirus crisis. Governments need to ensure the welfare of people who have lost their income and are in desperate need of food, sanitation and other essential services, Ghebreyesus added.
We call on countries to work with companies to increase production, to ensure the free movement of essential health products, and to ensure equitable distribution of those products based on need. Specific attention should be given to low and middle-income countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. In addition, WHO is working intensively with several partners to massively increase access to life-saving products, including diagnostics, PPE, medical oxygen, ventilators, and more. We understand that many countries are implementing measures that restrict the movement of people. In implementing these measures, it's vital to respect the dignity and welfare of all people. It's also important that governments keep their people informed about the intended duration of measures and to support for older people, refugees, and other vulnerable groups. Governments need to ensure the welfare of people who have lost their income and are in desperate need of food, sanitation, and other essential services. Countries should work hand in hand with communities to build trust and support resilience and mental health.
And that's all the news for today. Let's all work as responsible citizens to combat against the COVID-19 crisis. With that, we are wrapping up for today. See you tomorrow at the same time. Until then, take care. Good night.